Good morning. It's day 33 and I'm wearing sunglasses and the sky up above is blue. That's one thing about the weather in Norway. It can change drastically. It's supposed to be 10 degrees warmer than it was yesterday, although yesterday was not unpleasant. It was drizzly, you know, what they say about just not having the correct clothes. But if you're bundled up and you've got your rain pants on or whatever, it's not too bad. But today is supposed to be, I think, a high of 65 or 68, something like that. So I have 12 miles to go, and I think it's pretty straightforward today. Famous last words. I've said that before, haven't I? But we'll see. I have wet shoes, not really wet, but definitely not dry. So with the sun, it should maybe take an hour for them to dry out. And I know a number of you have asked, so what was for dinner? How was the dinner? And did you make it through the gates okay? And well, I'll tell you all about that at some point during the day. It was definitely an interesting meal and evening. But for now, I'll just say good morning, and I'm looking forward to having you along today for these 12 miles. So just kind of walking between farms right now, which is pretty interesting. The path is well marked. I'm sure I'm going to get back up in the woods here soon. I love these long stretches where there are no choices to be made. You just stay on the path. And right beside me, I don't know that you can see through the trees, but right beside me is the river, and the river is also flowing to Trondheim. So if we're going the same direction as the river, that's a good thing. I'm headed to Bergmanns Huset, the miner's house, today. I think it's going to be very nice. It has laundry facilities, dinner, lunch, packed lunch, and breakfast. So I think it's going to be a very nice stop. And I believe there are some stops along the way, some shelters and that kind of thing. We got one of those carry your backpack on your shoulder trails because lots of down trees here. So that's okay. We can just fling it on over. And then fling myself over. That's the key verb here, fling. See you on the other side. I know there was a walk around here, but I could not tell which direction when it parted paths, so I decided to come on the original path, which may have been a mistake, but we will try to walk around this. I made it through all of that. Probably not the best day to be wearing a skirt. My legs are kind of scratched up, but that's the price you pay for adventure. I hope Per in the Pilgrim Center doesn't yell at me for not following the revised route. It wasn't as well marked as it could have been. Well, right on the other side of that little fence there is the forest where I navigated the trees. And coming out of the forest, there's this nice little enclave with picnic table and buildings. And this is part of a cultural walk through Europe. And so there was a little sign there. So time for some of my little oat crackers. These are kind of like those oval ones that they market in the U.S. Beneful, or maybe that's dog food. I don't know. Like a little oval oat cracker that they market for breakfast. These are these are the same kind of thing. So makes a decent little breakfast snack. I'm about 5 miles in, up on a little peak with some homes, and this is the view. Oh, just beautiful. You may be wondering why I don't walk with Jonas and Astrid, since we're staying at most of the same places. It's not because they don't want to get lost in the woods with me. It's not because I'm that much faster, because I'm not. But last night, when they arrived, Astrid said, "I'm exhausted and I just can't speak English." It takes a lot of effort, and I get it, to hold a conversation in English with someone, especially when you're going uphill and that kind of thing. And I don't speak any German or Dutch. So it just makes a lot more sense for us to walk at our own pace. I'm at a little park with the river behind me, and I thought this was a good place to stop. I've recorded this portion of the video a number of times, and I think I need to re-record it. I don't want to sound ungrateful about last night's accommodation, but there were definitely less than stellar aspects to it. First of all, Astrid, Jonas, and I all had confirmed that we wanted dinner, breakfast, and a packed lunch. So if a host is not going to be able to provide that, if they're out of town or whatever, I don't begrudge them going out of town. They just need to make other arrangements and or email us. They had our email addresses. Turns out they only accepted cash, which we were not aware of. Usually the hosts that only accept cash put that in their listing. So that was a surprise, especially, well, this next part was really a surprise. The host's daughter or granddaughter ended up coming over and telling us what we could get in exchange for the one meal for the three of us. And we decided not to have the one meal. It was going to be $15 for that meal. But in exchange, she would bring 3 slices of bread for dinner, and then she would bring some things out of her fridge for breakfast and for us to make a sandwich for lunch. So it was literally clean out the fridge, I believe, but just with the basics. There was a tub of butter that had 99% of it had been used. There was a carton of apple juice that was about this full. There was some jam that had suspicious white specks on it. There was a new container of cheese that had 8 slices for us to divvy up between the three of us. So what we ended up doing was, you remember what I bought at the grocery a couple days before, and I still had all of that. In fact, the day before, I was just thinking, I don't want to take all these dry meals home. Well, we brought them all out, and Astrid and Jonas had some things as well. And they made soup with ramen and turned it into something a little more substantial. And they had half a chocolate bar, and so that was dessert. And I had a few cookies, and I ended up with a meal that I cooked on the little camp stove they had there. So all in all, it turned out okay. For breakfast, we each had a slice of bread. They had some oatmeal packets. I had a slice of bread, a piece of cheese, and then we divvied up one jam container that they had. We divided it into thirds, and we each got a third of a jam container. So it was really, like I said, less than stellar, but it turned out okay. None of us is going to starve, and the place I'm going today does have dinner, breakfast, and a packed lunch. So I'm really looking forward to that. And the shower that will be decent. We all just did spit baths last night because the shower was a little iffy. And all of that total was $55 for the bed, no linens, the bed, and that food. So we were expecting $40 for the bed. That was listed, but the food situation was very different. So we're all snacking on the way, and I'm about halfway there. I just saw a sign that said Trondheim is 81 kilometers, which is less than 50 miles. So I've got less than 50 miles to go out of a total of about 400 that I'm doing. I have never seen so many picnic tables on one route. Not here, of course. I'm on a mossy stone, probably soaking through my skirt. The time is, and I've gone over 7 miles, so usually a little after halfway I like to pull out my extravagant lunch. This being Sunday, well, there are no Circle K's around here. And so I'm just going to eat my lunch, and I have one more little climb to go, and then the best part of this day is there were no climbs at the beginning and no climbs at the end. So I don't mind climbs in the middle as long as I'm not climbing to the end. So one more little climb to go, and then I think it's pretty much downhill from there. I'm about 3 miles away, and I took a little detour off the path. Not a very big detour, but I saw picnic tables here. And then this is considered a shelter. It's not a hostel, it's just a shelter. So if someone needs to come and spend the night, they can. It is simply room for a couple people. So that's kind of nice to know that if you were camping and needed to get out of the elements or something like that, you certainly could. So that's a pilgrim shelter. Well, I've had a lot of pavement for these last 3 or 4 miles, but I think this is my destination. I don't know if this is the reception. We shall try this door and find out. The time is 1:44. That's what it says, yes. And I've pretty much decided that 20 kilometers or 12 miles, especially if there's any up and down, that's good. Anything over that gets me in too late, but 1:44, that's pretty good. Well, it turns out that building there, this hotel is a self-service hotel, and so you needed to use the code that was sent to you in an email, and I don't remember getting a code. Anyway, I called the number, and she had my reservation, and she said she will upgrade me to the old historic hotel. I don't know if that's a euphemism, but anyway, up the hill is the old historic hotel, and you need a code for that too, but she gave me a code, and it looks quite nice. So I can go in, get settled in my room, and then at 3 o'clock her colleague will be there to do the paperwork and find out when I want dinner. Aren't these grounds beautiful? It does look like an old historic hotel. My room is 26. And here it is. Ooh, fancy. Oh, how nice. Wow. Nice little closet, my own bathroom. Look at this, how beautiful. Very, very nice. So off with the backpack, find myself a little drink, and get ready to enjoy the evening. Thanks for following along. Day 33. Day 34 is coming up, 34 out of 38. This is getting close. So I'll look forward to seeing you in day 34.